Good afternoon, Dr. Page. My name is Lawrence Thompson, and I represent ADP. How are you doing this Friday afternoon?
I'm doing well, Lawrence. How are you?
I'm pretty good, Dr. Page. Thanks for asking. Me and my fiance were going to go see the Hawks take on the Washington Wizards later on tonight, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Do you have any big plans for the weekend?
Well, my wife's been hounding me about finishing up that basement, so I guess I'll be doing that all weekend. She runs a pretty tight shift.
I know what you mean, Dr. Page. My fiance is the same way. Well, the reason I'm reaching out to you today is because you were referred to me by Alex from Global Lamps. Does that name ring a bell?
It sure does. Alex and I are good friends, and we golf every weekend.
Awesome, awesome. Great to hear. Alex is a current customer of mine, so we've done a lot of work together in the past. Along with your phone number, he also provided me with your email. So I went ahead and sent over a little bit more information about my company and what we do at ADP, as well as my direct line in case you have any questions for me.
Okay, that sounds great, Lawrence. I'll take a look at that later this evening.
Great, great. I just wanted to call and introduce myself and ask a few questions about your day-to-day operations and gauge whether or not our resources meet your business needs. And if so, what steps are you comfortable with taking moving forward?
Yeah, I have some time to spare. What do you have?
Well, Dr. Page, in a nutshell, ADP is one of the largest human resource providers in the world. We service over 16% of the entire U.S. workforce with our 60,000 employee team and have our hands in the international market as well. What's important for you, Dr. Page, is that our niche is servicing small businesses similar to yours. At ADP, we specialize in creating ways to make small businesses more cost efficient and at the same time helping them better utilize their cash flow.
That all sounds great, Lawrence. How does that fit in with my business?
Well, Dr. Page, that's the reason for my call. I really wanted to learn a little bit more about your day-to-day operations and how you manage your business. When you think back on some of your most frustrating days on the job, what does it usually revolve around?
Well, Lawrence, I can't really think of any frustrating days. I know it was pretty tough in the beginning, but I think we've ironed out all the kinks since then.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that you've all worked through the initial speed bumps that you were facing in the beginning. What processes did you implement to fix some of these issues that you experienced?
Well, we went through a lot of changes internally and externally. We revamped many of our services to fit the customer's needs as well.
Okay. How do you think a lot of your administrative processes change as far as accounting and human resources?
I would say not much. I handle most of it, and it's been that way for years.
Wow. So on top of your normal responsibilities of servicing your patients, you're forced to manage the other end of the business as well. That must be time consuming.
It can be, but I've gotten used to it. It's just become part of my responsibilities.
Okay. Well, I know it can be difficult for people to change from what they're used to, but I could introduce a process to you that could save you a ton of time. What do you think you would focus the extra time doing?
That'd be great, Lawrence. I'd probably focus more time on expanding my practice and opening up another location.
Yeah, absolutely. Dedicating more time to servicing more patients. What would a more efficient process do for your business as a whole?
I would imagine it would take some of the frustrations out of having to go back and redo work due to mistakes made, although it doesn't happen that often.
Sure, I can see that as being a huge benefit to implementing a better process. Most of the customers I've worked with have found that ADP has proven beneficial to their hiring process as well. Who is the person in charge of handling that part of the business for you?
Well, I brought on an office manager. Her name is Jane, and she takes care of all that for me.
Okay. And how does Jane ensure that all employees are being treated fairly or that they understand and abide by company policies? What system is in place?
Well, I don't know too much about how she handles that, but I know she holds meetings every week where problems are discussed and changes are made with the staff.
Well, don't you think it would be more beneficial to address issues and policies up front upon hiring your employees instead of scheduling a meeting every week? Policies could be discussed less frequently, let's say once a quarter when they arise. It goes back to the idea that the less time you spend on unnecessary tasks, the more time you have to dedicate to the driving purpose of the business, don't you think?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like I said, a lot of the processes have been implemented since day one. So, I mean, that's really how we've been doing business for so long now.
Absolutely. And I'm not asking you to change how you've conducted business. I'm simply asking you to think about other ways that it can be handled more efficiently that would benefit your business. Would a system that allows Jane to provide materials to new hires discussing company policies benefits and expectations help make her job a lot easier?
Yeah, I'm sure it would.
See, ADP offers these types of benefits, and they usually drastically change the efficiency of many businesses. What could Jane dedicate more of her time to if she didn't have to schedule meetings every week?
Well, she's done a great job, honestly, and I wanted to give her more operational responsibilities down the road. So I would assume she'd have more time to handle some more of those tasks for me.
Absolutely, Dr. Page. I would assume with the fact that you're looking to open up another location, putting people in the right positions and delegating more responsibilities is an essential part to growing your business, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, you're right, Lawrence. It would be very beneficial.
Well, Dr. Page, I believe I can provide a solution to your problems with what we do here at ADP with just a few more minutes of your time.
Sure, go ahead. I've got some time.
Okay, well, first, Dr. Page, I want to point out that a lot of the issues that you're facing are simply because you're operating a small business. Most of the customers that I've worked with previously were in a similar boat and were experiencing issues similar to yours. It's not uncommon. The good news for you is that ADP specializes in improving small businesses and making them more efficient. By adopting our ADP Run service, it allows for you to implement a system that handles those accounting tasks for you with the push of a button. There won't be any time wasted going back and fixing any accounting errors. This will definitely help you come tax season.
Yeah, taxes are a pain.
Okay, well, picture this. Come January, you won't be at your desk going back through statements, pay stubs, or billing, double checking to make sure every dollar is accounted for. All you would have to do is log into your ADP account, sip some coffee, and the rest will be taken care of for you.
That sounds nice, even though I don't drink coffee. I prefer bourbon to get the day started.
To each his own, although if I were you, I probably wouldn't share that with any of my patients or coworkers, but do you see how ADP could be beneficial to you overall?
Yeah, absolutely. Although I think my main concern is addressing the staffing issue and giving Janice more help with that.
Okay, great. I'm glad you brought that up. So, to address improving your human resource department, I know Janice has a lot on her plate, and it sounds like she will have to take care of a lot more in the future. So, to alleviate her workload, ADP can be utilized to manage PTO and sick leave. Also, she'll be able to keep file of employee resignations and terminations. Upon hiring your employees, ADP will allow Janice to provide any employee packet which outlines the guidelines and responsibilities of each employee. This will save time from those unnecessary weekly meetings that, don't you agree?
Yeah, those meetings can also get pretty ugly sometimes.
Absolutely. Less frustration when everyone knows what role to play and what's expected of them. So just to recap, Dr. Page, we've discussed how ADP can alleviate some stress during tax season by handling all your accounting through our system, as well as clear Janice's plate by allowing her to manage her employees better through ADP. Does that sound right?
Yeah, sure does.
Great. The last thing I want to discuss is the cost of implementing ADP in your system. I've emailed the cost sheet over to you. If you have it in front of you, could you take a look at it?
Sure thing. I've got it right here, and I'm not liking what I'm seeing either. Very high numbers here.
So I would like to break this down into three parts and simplify it a little bit more for you so it doesn't seem too overwhelming. There's an initial implementation fee of $150 for each company ID. So if you're looking to expand, just keep that in mind. The second part would be based on your employee size. The charge of $68.95 will be assessed per payroll processing. The third and final part would be the web-based timesheet implementation of $50 per month that you would want to consider. How does that sound?
I don't know, Lawrence. It still seems like a lot of unnecessary charges.
Well, I know it might seem like a lot initially, but it will pay off in the long run when you consider the cost you could save from amended tax returns, payroll mistakes from not properly implementing a system.
Well, that makes sense, but I just don't think changing the system at this moment is the best move right now for my business.
Absolutely, Dr. Page. A lot of my customers that I previously worked with have expressed some concern about the transition to an entire new system. It's common. However, I would like to point out the advantages of implementing a new system that you express would benefit your company. When you agree that implementing a new system would lighten your workload by allowing you to process your accounting through our system, it will also give Janice more resources to help her perform her job more efficiently.
Yeah, those are two important things that we brought up that I was concerned about. Well, I'm just curious, how long would this process take to implement?
Not long to implement, about a week to get everything all set up, and we would do some trial runs to make sure access codes work properly and the system runs efficiently.
That doesn't seem like a tough transition at all.
No, it isn't. I know many of my customers are concerned with ensuring the system works properly afterwards, and I just want to ensure you that we will be there to make sure everything runs smoothly afterwards and make this transition as easy as possible.
Yeah, that was another concern of mine. Thank you for clarifying.
You're welcome. So, Dr. Page, I know we've looked at several things over the course of this call, and we've discussed how impactful ADP can be to your business. We even discussed how it can benefit some of your key staff members and directly affect productivity in their positions. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. You've been a ton of help and very knowledgeable. Honestly, Lawrence, if I had a daughter, I'd want her to date a guy like you.
Well, thank you, Dr. Page. Very flattered. But as far as ADP, I think it's important to discuss the next steps in the process. Unless you have any more questions for me, I'll go ahead and begin the paperwork and get the system set up by next week, so we can finally start saving you some valuable time and money.
Whoa, Lawrence, next week? I like you and all. I think you're a slow guy. I'm sure I would let you date my daughter if I had one, but this entire process is moving way too fast for me.
Well, Dr. Page, about a month ago, I had a client that was in a similar position to you. He expressed need for our product but delayed the process for months. Finally, after some time, he went through with it, and we saved the guy a ton of money. We freed up his work schedule so he could spend more time with his wife and newborn. And just recently, he expressed to me how he regretted not going through with that decision either. I don't want that to be you, Dr. Page. I like my clients to be proactive, not reactive.
Well, gosh, when you put it that way, Lawrence, I guess you're right. I can't really afford to wait on something that's so impactful to my business.
Absolutely. So are we doing both locations or just one for now?
Let's go ahead and do both.